What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/IDontWorkHereLady. Alright, this story's called Arrest This Juvenile Menace. This is my first post here, so I want to take the time to tell everyone a little bit about me. I am a retired paramedic. I was actually in basic EMT school, EMTB. The way I accomplished dual enrollment was because my grades were good enough to prove I would graduate high school, as you have to be at least 18 years old to be an EMT in Georgia. My birthday is in January, and the school started on January 5th. EMT school at the time was a 6 months long class, 2 nights per week. Of course, I graduated high school, and the next week I graduate in EMT, and everything is going as planned and did for the next 26 years. Now, for one of the many stories I will share in this sub, as others, I'll have to match the sub with the subject. Oh, the wording is so weird. I just awoken after my grand total of 4 hours of sleep from my 24-hour shift of work. Need I even mention that I wanted to go home? But first, I had to make a stop at People of Walmart store, as I am 99% positive my local Wally World is where that title was coined from. Heck, while on shift, we'd make stops in there after midnight just to see the finest of fine store patrons, to have a contest to see how many of our local city's finest was actually sober enough to stay between the aisles without taking out the pyramids of canned goods at the end of each one. We even wanted to just see how many females could fit a pair of yoga pants on, and see just how many camel toes was possible in one pair of pants. I think 6 was the record. Sorry to sidetrack. However, it is part of the story, in a way. I walked in the store, still in full uniform. The uniform was easily confused with the police and security guards uniform, as they were navy blue shirts with a badge, ID, tag on a lanyard, French blue pants with navy stripes on the pant legs, and duty-type work boots with zippers on the sides. We were often confused for police officers. I was in the dairy aisle with my buggy, getting some milk before heading from the back of the store to the front to finish my row-by-row shopping method. I got my milk and was about to push my cart onto the next stop, the ice cream freezer. The ice cream freezer. Then, the expectedly unexpected, if that makes sense, occurs. The start of the Queen Karen of blue hair story is like this. Now, before she made it to my aisle, I have to admit, I did hear some arguing the next aisle over and muffled yet still audible speech about, "Get me that bag off the top shelf." Then, in a more demanding, "I told you to just simply get that bag for me, and you get it, and I am not asking so nicely again." Now, what sounded like 2 younger boys mentioned to one another, "Who does this old geezer think she is?" Then a response from the other boy, "Have these blue hairs forgotten how to ask?" "Yeah, bro. All the old bimbo had to do was ask." I suppose they intentionally said it loud enough for her to hear, and here we go. Y'all, forgive me as I usually type with a southern drawl, as well being from a very rural area of the West Georgia area. I hear none other than the Karen of the Walmart, "I demand that you help me" theme song in my mind. Those people too young to know who Georgia the Jungle is, please look it up, as the theme song is a parody of the song You There. There were several others around me, so I thought nothing of it and continued shopping. Again, as I stopped to get eggs, she says it again. "Are you ignoring me or just ignorant? I need your immediate assistance." I look around and had to ask, "Are you speaking to me?" She says in a condescending voice, "Well, you are the only security guard I see in here, so yes, I am talking to you, and I need you to stop pretending like you're shopping and kick these juvenile delinquents out of the store." I reply as tactfully as a tired man just trying to get the hell in, get my items, and get out. "You can't be shopping. You're the security guard on duty, so quit playing and get those obnoxious and rude children out of this store." I told her again, "Ma'am, I'm trying to get Karen says, very angrily and aggressively walking at me. "You either help me, you lying bastard, or I will have you fired and banned from any job in security you will ever—" Things went downhill as rapidly as Clinton's pants under the Oval Office desk from here on out. My sleep-deprived and normally calm, cool, and collected demeanor was spent. I'd had enough. My parents have never spoken to me this way, and I was actually taught not to do what I was about to do. So forgive me me mom and dad. I told her, with my deep, resonant daddy voice, as my wife calls it, "I do not work here, woman! I have tried on 3 prior occasions, but you keep running your mouth and never allow me to—" She attempts to interrupt, but I stop her. She starts with, "No, you wait." I throw a hand right up about 6 inches from her face and say, "See? There you go again. I suppose you were gonna say you've never been spoken to that way. So consider this the first truth that others have been afraid to do. Again, I do not work here. I just got off my 24 hours and drove 35 minutes here from a long night of dealing with Karens with far more issues than the issues you want me to assist you with. And I'll be damned if I'm gonna put up with it from you for free. I barely get paid enough to deal with it while on duty. Why don't you find an actual security guard here? I'm a medical professional. You have them assist you with whatever irrelevant cause to have in your twisted panties at the present time. Now, leave me the hell alone. I want to go home." I left her pale as a sheet and made it far enough away she had to yell back, "You just go ahead and leave and never think about coming back. I know the manager, and he finds out, there will be hell to pay." Now, between the time hell and pay were spoken, I was struck with a small bag of powdered sugar that hit me and exploded all over my uniform. I have to admit, that was one heck of a shot from one end of the aisle to the other. It didn't hurt, just made one hell of a mess. One mell of a hess. The manager now has heard what was going on and asked me what happened. The Karen saw him approach and came down the aisle like Bruce Jenner. Not the confused Caitlyn, but the fast, athletic one we got used to seeing on our Wheaties and Olympic triathlon champion boxes. Okay. And immediately tried to butt into the conversation the manager and I had started. She would get her turn. The manager told her we're talking, and she would get her chance. Karen went ballistic. "You are already taking his side. He assaulted me, as well as the other 2 hoodlums that harassed me and made fun of me for being old, when all I wanted was help. Now your security guy was very rude to me, and I demand that he is fired, and he never gets a job in security again." The manager let her speak, and we did not interrupt her. And then I gave my side of the story. I pretty much told him everything I overheard later today to the boys, and then how she began to be so rude to me even after I told her multiple times, or tried to when I could get a word in edgewise, that I did not even work there. I told him he may want to check the security footage because if she touched those young boys in any way, as well as her hitting me with the powdered sugar, that I want assault charges pressed upon her. By this time, she's trying to make her way out of the store, but the manager radioed the true security and had them stop her until law enforcement could arrive. When I made it to the front, she was being put in handcuffs. She was still crying and with her quivering voice was still being Karen when she yelled to me, "My husband is the local mega church pastor, and I promise you, he will make sure all of you rude liars burn in hell after the way I was treated." Labor to say, I am a Christian, and I know that I am saved by grace through Jesus Christ. And there's nothing her husband can do to have that taken away from me. However, it is not in God's word that those that bear false witness have broken at least one of the 10 commandments. Not only that, well, that doesn't take what? But the day she goes before a secular judge and see how many of those 10 commandments are commuting into years. It's a really good story. The wording was a little bit wonky in some places. I'm sorry, I've got to point it out. So, other than that, is well written, but geez, that was confusing at some points. But, interesting story nonetheless. Interesting story. Alright, this story is called Crazy Karen Somehow Mistakes a 14-year-old for a Bartender. Hello, obligatory mobile warning, first time posting, so let me know if I do anything wrong. I was thinking about this yesterday and decided it might be good to post on this sub. Also, this happened a few years ago, so hopefully I remember everything right. Here's the cast, there's me, Karen,
Karen?
My dad. My dad used to own an ice rink where we lived. The ice rink had a bar and a pretty big lobby that was really long. Think about 30 feet or 10 meters. I liked to go behind the bar and was allowed to since my dad owned the rink, and I would get lemonade and occasionally get some for my friends too without charging them. One day I was behind the bar just getting some lemonade like I normally did. While my back was turned to the bar, I heard somebody sort of clearing their throat as if to get my attention. I didn't pay any mind to it, assuming they were trying to get the actual bartender, Mary's, attention. After I finished filling up my lemonade, I turned around and saw this lady. She looked unhappy, and I immediately got nervous. I have social anxiety, and I tend to clam up around adults I don't know, especially when I was younger. Then this exchange happened.
Excuse me, but I've been trying to order drinks and you have been ignoring me.
Ma'am, I didn't know you were talking to me. I don't work here. I'm only behind the bar because
I need 2 lemonades, a Sprite, a Budweiser, and a Coors Light.
Ma'am, for the last time, I don't work here. I'm 14. Please go see the actual bartender Mary and order your drinks. She's starting to get mad.
Then why are you behind the bar? Are you trying to steal drinks?
No, ma'am. I've been trying to tell you. My dad...
Get me whoever's in charge right now! You are behaving absolutely unacceptably and not getting me my drinks.
At this point, I was on the verge of tears. Fortunately, my dad happened to be in his little office near the bar, which was more like a booth, and I could go get him. I told him what happened in a few brief words, and he actually knew who I was talking about. Apparently, he had kicked out the same lady a few weeks before for abusing Mary. My dad stood up and walked over to this woman. He's about 6.5 feet tall and weighs 210 pounds, so he was pretty intimidating. This lady couldn't have been more than 5'2" and maybe 130 pounds. So when my dad walked over to this lady, you could see a little bit of apprehension on this lady's face. She was trying to maintain her bluster, but I could also tell she didn't want to be anywhere near my dad. Hello? Is there a problem?
Yes! Are you the manager here? This bartender's absolutely awful and refusing to serve me drinks.
Ma'am, I am the owner of this building, and that is my daughter. She is 14 and is not a bartender. There happened to be a framed newspaper with my dad on the front cover for buying the ice rink right where we were standing, which Karen saw. The color immediately drained out of her face, but for whatever reason, she still tried to throw a fit.
Well, she should have still served me drinks. I didn't know she was 14.
Karen says something really stupid here.
You should give me free skating passes for my trouble.
How Karen didn't know I wasn't a bartender is a mystery to me. I was a little bit tall for my age, around 5'6", but the oldest you could have mistaken me for was maybe 16. I had freaking braces, for crying out loud. My dad was getting pretty angry right now, and he was tired of dealing with this lady. Actually, aren't you the lady who got thrown out a few weeks ago for being rude to the actual bartender? Because you have been abusing the staff here. You need to leave now, and you are banned from the building as well.
But I didn't know! You can't ban me! You have no right!
Actually, I do. Now get out before I either have to remove you myself, or leave before I call the police to file a report for harassment. At this point, Karen realizes he wasn't actually kidding and thankfully left. My dad made sure I was okay, and I got some more lemonade. Anyway, thanks for reading about my Karen encounter. I hope you like it. That sounds like a really cool place to grow up as a kid. You could meet a lot of cool people there. But that's stupid. Lemonade sounds good. Hey, what place has the best fast food lemonade? Because every place I get lemonade, it's always super sweet and not sour, and it's always disappointing. This story's called "The Pandemic Has Been Hard on All of Us, Karen." So just to preface this, I, 19, female, particularly hate grocery shopping and tried to move through the store in my hometown as quickly as possible to avoid running into people I know. About a month ago, I went into my local grocery store to pick up a couple of things, just a prescription and a box of mashed potatoes to go with what I was cooking that day. This meant I had to make a loop around to the back of the store. As I went around, I heard a woman pushing a cart and doing what I could only describe as growling. As I got closer, I overheard her loudly exclaiming, "Ah!
Does this store even sell hand soap? Grrr!"
to some other poor lady. The huffing and puffing and growling continued as I tried to avoid her, hoping she was distracted enough by the other poor shopper. But she caught sight of me as I was getting my mashed potatoes and started to chase me down as I turned to run. I was wearing a black hoodie, black pants, and a hat, and the employees wear either white shirts with black aprons or black long sleeve shirts.
Hey you work here, right? Where's the damn hand soap?
I froze in my tracks. Sorry, I don't—
How are you out of soap in a pandemic?
Don't work here is all I could muster as I picked up the pace away from this lady who to this day is probably still in a frenzy looking for hand soap. By the noises she was making, you would have thought hand soap was the cure for lycanthropy. I don't remember if it was a full moon. I bet she would have killed me for the last bottle of Dial Gold heroin. Thanks for the upvotes and silver, y'all. Might have to melt it down into bullets in case Karen transforms and comes after me. That's funny. Hey, at least she's trying to be responsible and stay clean. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.